So let's continue on with that. So if we start to ask, do demons, angels, do these deities like the devil and God, do these things actually really exist outside of yourself, right? If my reality is me inverted inside out, right? How can those things exist if I know nothing about them, right? Well, they don't exist to me because I have no awareness of them. I don't know what they are, right? So they don't exist, but it doesn't mean they don't exist. Because the fact that other people in the planet know about a specific energy or deity, that means they exist. Why is that? Because those people are actually me. They're mirror aspects and versions of myself. And this is where networking and your vibe attracts your tribe and all this shit comes into play. So you put me onto something. So let's say, for example, if I am in a certain mind state and frequency where I want to know something, right? The right person, a guru, may appear, because if the student is ready, the guru appears, but not to say that that guru is bigger than you. That guru is you. It's just that that guru is putting you onto something that you didn't know. Now, what the energy and attention you put into it determines how important or significant it becomes in your life, right? This is why people now are aware of a deity. They may do rituals for it. They may give offerings to it and sacrifices to it and whatnot. That's now becoming more powerful and energized in your reality based on your attention and frequency. But it's an aspect of yourself that you're energizing and making more potent, right? So now when you start to ask, well, whatever I know of outside of myself, right, is your reality written out for you already? Are the scripts already written out for you? Yes, they are. Everything is already written out and done for you, right? But the whole thing is, let's say if I became aware of a certain pattern, right? Or energy. Let's say we do this through astrology, right? And or I became aware of what my future may look like. It is now not fate anymore. It is now a potential. Because I am potential. I am limitless potential. I am infinite possibilities, right? Which means that now that reality that I became aware of is now a potential. Because upon me being aware of it, now it could be A or B. It's not just that, right? Now, and that's going to be based on my frequency and vibration, based on the programs that I've still been on. If I'm aware of certain programs that I've been on based on memory, right? Because that's how I'm manifest. Things can manifest into your reality very easily, right? Where if you were a millionaire, right, and you lost all that $1 million, right, then can you become a millionaire again? Yes, because you have a memory of how it felt like to be a millionaire. Plus, you knew the avenues and channels it took to manage that physical form of energy, right? So then what's happening now? You go and become a millionaire again. If a person is poor, but they've never had that kind of energy or managed that kind of energy or ever had the experience of saying, I know what it feels like to have $1 million, then it will be harder because your memory and programs don't support that, right? So that means that you're nothing but an AI computer running on programs. If you delete all those programs and delete everything that makes you as an individual, right? Everything. Let's say if you erase even, like, you ever seen a brain dead person? It's just like nobody home. It's just nothing. The brain is not working, right? So you have an intellectual mind, right? And we have this memory of things. And then based on those memories determines how strong the manifestation I want to come into fruition will come into, right? So it may take me a little bit longer to manifest something that I've never had because I'm running on programs. I would have to bypass, right, the conscious mind and get to the subconscious mind by affirmations or suggestions by changing my brainwave states. This is why sometimes you rewrite or reprogram your subconscious mind through affirmations or recordings and whatnot. But you put yourself in a certain brainwave state to bypass the conscious mind and get directly to the subconscious mind, right? So now I'm doing that. I'm rewriting programs. So it would have to be where you impress, right, the subconscious mind. You know how you impress somebody, or they say first impression, last impression, right? So you had a first impression when you were in this existence, which is basically your parents, which are basically you. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And this is where now you become aware by observing them and their patterns, and you change your reality by obviously doing what they're not doing. Do something else. You come out the box of what originally you've been doing. It's just like somebody saying diabetes runs in the family. Well, diabetes runs in the family, asshole, because you're eating the same shit that caused them their diabetes. So if you're aware that diabetes that they got was from the foods they're eating, you obviously gonna eat fucking different. You're obviously gonna have a different mind state also toward the fact that that was a mind virus that was implanted into your reality, right? Into your mind, which had you believe that it runs in the family. And because you're eating a certain way, it's now becoming a direct frequency match for that reality to become matter and materialize for you. This is why, what is diseases? Diseases is stagnation in the body. Anything that's stagnant is going to create something called a dis-ease. It starts like, look how you, feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. Feeling is the key, right? So if you can't take a shit, how do you feel? It feels horrible, terrible, right? So you want to fucking eliminate waste. You always want to keep things moving. If not, it's creating rotting effects in your body. It's creating stagnation, putrefaction. It's creating a bunch of shit that you really don't want in your system, right? Infestations, breed grounds for like parasites and gnarly bacteria that you don't want in there. So things should be moving, right? So if you really look at this, right? Let's say, for example, you're a person who's inflammatory in attitude and just in nature, you're just fucking a fucking terrible person. You're just holding grudges all the time, and you know, you hold on to emotions and shit. You don't let things flow, right? You don't let things move. Then you're eating meat. Meat is not the problem, right? Meat is a cause to something that would become a frequency match depending on the type of inflammatory person that you are. If you're an inflammatory person, that's going to create inflammation in the body because you're eating foods that are direct match to that reality for you. So that's why they say you are what you eat and what you eat becomes you. This is why certain people who are 90 or 100 years old, right, have ate shit all their life, but they're still lived that long, is because the foods they were eating were neutralized by their harmonious chemistry that they had in the body along with their genetics. But the genetics comes down to a family lineage and how they were brought up. They were brought up in a loving household, right? So if they were brought up in a loving household, right, and these are variables, I know there's different variables, because you can observe even certain people who have became like, you know, the most powerful mafia leaders in the planet. But think about this though. For example, Pablo Escobar came from humble beginnings. Joaquin Guzman Lorera, which is El Chapo, he came from humble beginnings as well, right? But those humble beginnings, right, were, let's say, a harmonious loving frequency, right, can be also a mirror aspect that doesn't have to be a direct mirror. How did these people make billions and millions of dollars, right? It was from a indirect version of it. No different than if I'm holding my right hand up right now and I look at myself in the mirror, it looks like my left hand is the one that's being raised up, like I'm looking at myself on camera right now. So it's a reflection, but it's not a direct reflection. So it's two sides of the same coin. They made that business work with a building frequency, which is still coming out of love. Everything is love, regardless of the ideas you polarize to and put to it. The thing is that you're programmed to look at things as bad and good, to give things contrast and polarizations, but also to empower the original system that's keeping you entrapped and enslaved. And I'm gonna make this disclaimer, these are based on my opinions only. Do your own research, all right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not spreading information for you to believe anything I'm telling you. But I want you to just listen to this part real carefully, okay? You have a system here, right, called the government, right, which you look up to, right? And the whole thing is that the government, look, you have something called the Food and Drug Administration, right, which approves certain chemicals in your food as being safe, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that they're going to cause neurological issues in your body, because there's nothing here that's tying science and spirituality together. It's just science. So you're looked at as just a physical being, and there's no metaphysics tied in this. So you don't look at the metaphysical effects that glyphosate may have on an individual, right? So now, when you start to, and I made the examples in part 1 and 2 of this little series I just created here, as far as glyphosate. If anybody wants me to go in a little deeper on that, I will in another video. But if you really look at how that works, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so they approve these things, and it's not killing you quickly, it's killing you slowly, but it's not killing your physical vessel. It's just putting metaphysical aspects of yourself to sleep, or essences that would empower